Hello, everyone. It's Michelle with Twin Flame Warriors. Welcome to the fifth installment in our bonus podcast series, Portrait of a Twin Flame. Today, our portrait subject is Joanna. Before we begin our interview, please consider donating to support Justin's and my Twin Flame Soul Mission. We provide our podcast free of charge, trusting that the universe will support us in this work, so that we may continue being beacons and catalysts for spiritual growth. If we've helped you on your journey, we welcome your blessing. We receive via PayPal at michelle@twinflamewarriors.com, or buy our novella series today on Amazon and anywhere you get your ebooks. Search for Souls on Fire, Memoirs of a Twin Flame True Love Journey. We also offer coaching, mentoring, regression, card reading, and other services that could benefit you on your journey. Check out our menu of services today at twinflamewarriors.as.me. That's twinflamewarriors.as.me. Now, without further ado, I give you Portrait of a Twin Flame, Joanna. Well, welcome to the program, Joanna. We're really excited to host you for this fifth episode of our Portrait of a Twin Flame podcast. For the audience, Joanna has been on the Twin Flame journey since just before she turned 15 years old. That's when she met her twin flame. She'll explain more about this, but they were best friends for a few years before she moved away. They stayed in contact for a number of more years, kind of back and forth for a decade. And then life circumstances kind of led them to separate for about 14 years. Joanna currently lives in Ohio, and she and I met because she was referred by someone to Justin's and my book series, Souls on Fire, Memoirs of a Twin Flame True Love Journey. And Joanna read the first two books in the series and kindly reached out to me and Justin to share her story. And that was a few months ago. Since we've become friends, confidants, we love to share our gifts with each other. We're both card readers and, have a lot of the gifts that come with being on the Twin Flame journey and gifts that you discover as you become a more awakened person that we all can partake in. And I'm just really excited to invite Joanna here because, as Justin and I like to say, every Twin Flame journey is unique. Every Twin Flame journey has different lessons with it that we can all learn from and not feel so alone by knowing that there are others out there experiencing what we're experiencing. So again, Joanna, welcome. With that brief introduction, I'm going to hand it over to you because I want the audience to know how this has worked for you all these years that you've known each other.
Me and my twin, we actually met through my best friend that I had known for a few years. Me and her went through a lot, and there was some family issues she had going on, and so she had to change schools. And so when she changed schools, she ended up meeting my twin and a group of others, and she had this huge crush on my twin. She's asked me to come over and go bowling with her and these new guy friends that she had met. And I was like, okay, sure. So we all went out bowling. She introduced me to her crush, and as soon as we locked eyes with each other, we both even said, I've met you somewhere. I know you. How do I know you?
Soul recognition, that moment.
Right then and there, even being 15 years old. I was going to a different school at the time, but me and my mother ended up moving to a different part of town. And I ended up going to the same high school as my friend and her new friends did. Then we just clicked and became best friends. We were inseparable. If you couldn't find him at his house, you would find him at my house and vice versa. We just enjoyed doing everything together. Yeah, it caused some issues with girlfriends that he had. He is quite handsome and he was very athletic and a football star. Some girls did not like or understand mine and his relationship, but that's just the way it was. Around 17 years old, my mom and her boyfriend had a huge breakup, and my mom kind of went crazy and had us all pack up stuff and put it in a storage. About a week later, her and him got back together and decided to move down to Oklahoma. The first time I had ever seen my twin lose it, he dropped to his knees crying and begging my mom not to take me away from him. It was really hard. We both cried a lot. That first separation hurt so hard. I had went through a lot as a child, but experiencing that, I would have to say was the worst trauma that I had ever experienced. being separated from him. About almost a year later, we kept in contact. We wrote letters to each other. We didn't have cell phones back then. We had pagers, but we would write back and forth to each other. And he said, things just ain't the same without you here. I miss you. I love you. I hope you're doing okay. Vice versa. I would go up to my hometown and visit every once in a while. It was getting harder to see him and visit him and having to leave because I didn't want to leave and he didn't want me to leave. And it made it real hard.
What would you describe that feeling like that you remember being, in those young years together? I mean, I know it felt right. And we often, like in the twin flame community, we often talk about our twin feeling like home, but we don't always get stories from people's teenage selves. What was it like for you then?
Very carefree. He didn't judge me. I could say anything I wanted. And believe me, at that age, I had a lot of weird, intrusive thoughts. And I would just blurt them out. And he would laugh and he would feed off of it. We had the best of time together. But he was also a protector too. It was very hard for me to get boyfriends in high school. He would tell them, don't look at her. You ain't good enough for her. Turn around. I referred to him as being my big brother. I even joined in family vacations with him and his family. I don't think there's anything that we didn't do together. Concerts were our thing. Music is very big in our connection. We connect to music.
So many twin flames, that's kind of like their love language. I mean, Justin and me, we listen to songs now that we've known for years and we say, oh, we never realized that was a twin flame song. Or a song will come on, like I always think of, it's an old 70s like trucker song, Keep On Rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away. Okay, so that one, the first time Justin and I were together and that song came on the radio, I was like, oh my God, I love this song. And I hadn't heard it in years. And I said, I remember being in my dad's 76 Chevy Silverado truck. And we were driving in northern Arizona, like going on a camping trip. The windshield wipers were moving in time to the music. I just had this like crystallized moment of thought. I mean, I was pretty young. I must have been 4 or around that age. I told Justin that story and he said, same thing happened to him, but I think he was in his grandpa's car and he remembers looking up the windshield and they were driving somewhere in that song. And so I really love like when music is that way. I know that you have a lot of angel numbers tied up with your music and your twin flame and like going to concerts when you've looked back.
We were big fans of Godsmack when Godsmack came out, 1998, 99. He'd always have this song playing in the car, Moon Baby. I would just jam out to it. But if you really listen to the words of that song now, it's a twin flame song. It definitely is. Also, Stabbing Westward. What do I have to do? I don't know if you've ever heard of them before, but the song goes, what do I have to do to make you want me? What do I have to do to make you understand? And he used to play that all the time in the car. And I'm like, you're so emo. Can we listen to something else? He's a Pisces, so he's very deep and emotional into his music, and music is his world. But talking about that concert, he did take me to the Godsmack concert. We went to go on the family vacation, and my cousin said, oh, I'll buy you your ticket because the concert was 2 days after we got back. Well, she ended up buying her crush my ticket and said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have enough to buy yours. I was, really? So that day of the concert, my twin called me over at my aunt's house because I was staying at my aunt's for the summer. He said, oh gosh, are you so excited? Are you getting ready? I said, no. Well, why not? And I said, well, she wasn't able to buy my ticket, so I can't go. So you guys go have fun and then see me after the show. About 3 hours later, he is knocking on my aunt's door. I am badly sunburnt from tubing for 7-8 hours on the river.
Oh, man.
So I had to like hobble my butt up the steps. He was at the door and he said, man, you look like crap. Gee, thanks. He said, well, you better start getting ready. And I'm ready for what? I told you, are you dense? I'm not going. He pulled out a ticket out of his pocket and he said, do you really think I would go to the show without you? I said, oh my gosh, I just love you. He said, I love you too. Now get your butt in gear. We only got an hour.
That's so cool.
Yes, and it ended up being July 9th. Progressing after the separation, I resisted our connection because I didn't know what it was.
So which separation? Take us back, because I interrupted you a little bit earlier. You moved away with your mom and you and he stayed in contact. And then is this a different separation or that separation?
Oh, it was we've had several separations. So the first one was when my mom moved me. He came from hometown and would come down to visit me. I would go up there. And at that time, I had actually met my children's father and got pregnant. And my twin wasn't too happy, but he supported me and he would come down and visit. And then I finally left my children's father back in 2006. And I decided to move my kids up to my hometown and get my own place. I had to stay in a friendship home for a little bit, where it's abused women and children seeking shelter. He helped me any way he could. Water pump went out of my car. He was at work and he jumped in his truck and drove clear across town. And I lived in a big city. You know, my hometown is a big city. And he picked me and the kids up. And then the next day he had bought a water pump to get it fixed. And I knew somebody that would fix it. He bought that for me. He called me up one morning and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Well, it's 8 o'clock. I just woke up. I'm getting the kids up and making breakfast." He said, "Oh, okay, well, get the kids dressed." 10 minutes later, he is banging on my door. And he said, "Gosh, you're such a slowpoke. You got these kids ready yet?" So he helped me get the kids ready and got the car seats out of my car. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I built a picnic for the kids and I'm taking the kids to the zoo. And you can pay bills or go get your hair, nails done, do grocery shop, whatever you need to do to have time with yourself. Just come by his mom's around 5 o'clock because she was having a barbecue." It was those sweet little things. But 2006 is the last time I seen him face to face. Things got a little more advanced in our friendship. He and I started talking to each other differently, sexual. And, you hear about the runner chaser dynamic. Well, I was the runner. It scared me because I wasn't used to somebody being so great. Even in high school, I was just the friend. I was the cute little short, chunky girl, and he always dated trophy girlfriends, pretty, skinny, thin, beautiful, blonde girlfriends.
Right.
And
you really felt like you didn't deserve.
Absolutely. And so when he started voicing to me that he wanted me, I was just like, wow. Well, my children's father started talking to me too and apologizing, and I ran to what I was comfortable and familiar with. When I did that, I did not tell a single soul that I was moving from my hometown back to where I was with my children's father, which is a couple states away.
That had to be really hard on you. You'd come from a battered situation. You separated, and then your own traumas of the past rose up and chased you into more trauma. This is a pattern in twin flame connections, right? We see this with a lot of people, this cycle and this pattern.
Yeah, it was, I thought I was doing right by my children and right by me because he said, my children's father said, I stopped drinking. I'm not doing drugs. I promise I will never hurt you and the kids. And at the same time, I have my twin professing his love to me, but not. It was cryptic. I never really seen the way that my twin really looked at me like others did. And I didn't acknowledge it, but everybody else around us did. Either you loved being around us or you hated it.
Why was that?
Because when me and him were together, no one else existed. It was me and him in our own little perfect world, and nobody else fit in that bubble but him and I. Even with girlfriends in the past, they would say, "Does she have to go on dates with us?" And I would sit in the back like, "Really? Do I have to go on dates with you guys?" And he would tell me, "Oh, be quiet." "Well, I kind of feel like a third wheel." "You're not. You're the first wheel." And then his girlfriend would look at him and be like, "Am I the third wheel?" And they would fight about me. And he would straight up tell them, "If you don't like mine and her's friendship, you could get on because that's my best friend."
But yet you had all this evidence and you still couldn't accept that he did see something in you beyond what you saw in yourself.
Nope, I was not open to receive that at that time.
Yeah.
Fortunately. And now looking back at it, being completely open, I'm like, wow, you're a dummy.
Well, you weren't ready for it. Like you just said, you weren't open to receive it at that time. You had more lessons to learn, more things to go through. We all go through some form of that.
Absolutely. Back in 2006, like I said, I didn't tell him that I was leaving. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell my family or my friends. I packed up my kids and my stuff and I hopped out and I left. And this is where it gets to the separation. I still continue to talk to him, and he would send me some risque pictures. At the time, I was still with my children's father. I was back with my children's father. My children's dad did not like me taking my phone anywhere I went. So I had to leave my phone at the house while I went to work. And he caught wind by going through my phone, the conversations between me and my twin. Even back in the past when he had met my twin, he was dead set on that me and him had something going on. You know, you're just not that close to anybody unless you've done something. And that was never the case. He never trusted me with my twin, ever. Even when my aunt passed away back in 2002, my twin, he picked me up and I stayed the night at his house, and my children's father lost it. But we didn't do anything. He let me sleep in the bed because I was pregnant with my son, and he went to work. Even his roommate's girlfriend was best friends with his girlfriend, and they had a big old fight and they ended up breaking up. And me and my children's dad almost broke up because of it too. But he's just at that time my friend. Anyways, I continue talking to my twin, and my children's father found out about it. And so he messaged him pretending to be me. I didn't know. The messages were deleted, and I called my twin and he didn't answer. So I left a message. He never returned the message. I texted him. He didn't text me back. I called again. He didn't answer. A whole week of being ghosted. I called one more time from a friend's number and he answered. He went off. I can't even tell you what he said. At the time, I knew what he was saying to me and it broke my heart. But the words that he said, I did not want to comprehend. And I made myself forget what he said to me. That was the last time that I have talked to my twin until last year.
So how did life went on. You raised your kids.
I ended up leaving my kids' father, and I met somebody 10 times worse than him.
Oh my goodness.
I wasn't learning my lessons. I actually lost my kids to DHS for 5 years. I went into depression, drinking and doing bad drugs, dope. It felt like the whole world was against me at that time. And so if I can't beat them, join them. And I thought that at the time, everybody was better without me. And I really went through my dark night of the soul. Really, really bad, especially towards 2012. That's when I checked myself in and I got clean and sober and I got my kids home. Everything started turning around, and that's when I met my husband.
He's a really important soulmate of yours, I know.
Yes, he is. So I met him right before I got my kids home, and he helped me get my kids home. We met in December of 2012, and we were together, building a family together. He was everything.
You met in 12/12. What day of 12/12?
The 23rd.
12/23/12. I just love those, the 12/12.
Yes. And I really truly believe that that's when my awakening started happening, when I started sobering up, not doing drugs or alcohol, going out into the party life. I believe that's really when it started. But we got the kids home and we have built a beautiful life together. We got married in 2019. In between those times, I do want to mention that in my hometown, my cousin worked at a pawn shop. She had called me one day and said, "Do you have time to chat for a minute?" Sure. She said, "Well, I was at work today and you would have never guessed who came in." The moment she said that, I knew she was talking about my twin. And I said his name and she said, "Yep, he came in today." I said, "How is he doing?" She said, "Well, he kind of looked a little sad." He came in there, he talked to her for a little bit, and then he asked her, how is Joe doing? She said, "Oh, she's doing okay. She just raising her kids and, working, doing her thing." And Well, can you please tell her that I love and miss her very much? Said this was back in 2015 because I had reached out in 2011. His dad passed away. And I heard through a friend, and I sent him a long message because I loved his dad. Oh my goodness, I loved his dad so much.
Well, you guys had been on family trips together and everything. You truly were treated like another, like his sister, like a sibling, right? In that family.
Yes.
When you were younger. Yeah.
I was the only girl that was allowed to stay the night at his house. He was the only boy that could ever stay the night at my house, and our parents trusted. And they had every reason to. We didn't do nothing bad. He never replied back to me. I seen that he had read it on Facebook, but he never replied. And, that's okay. In 2015, when he told my cousin that, I was like, oh my goodness, but I still didn't reach out to him, respect his wishes, because in the last message that I sent him in 2012, after his dad passed, I said, I won't reach out to you. If you would like to talk, I'll always be here. You'll know how to find me, but I'll respect your wishes and not speak to you or see you. Me and my husband got married March 23rd, 2019. And I have to tell this date because there's a synchronicity. So when I finally got to talk to him for the first time in so long was last year, May 8th, 2020. I had a month before sent a message to his Facebook. I just miss you. I think about you all the time, and I miss my best friend. And I just went into a whole long spiel. It showed that he read it, but of course he didn't reply. On May 8th, I was like, you know what? I know that he's not a creature of change. I bet he still has his own phone number. So I text that number and I said, dear twin, and if you're not my twin, at the time I didn't know he was my twin. I said his name, but I'm going to keep his name private. I said, if it's not you, I'm so sorry to unload this all on you. If you are, this is Joe. And I just went on to a whole thing. Like, I got married, I've been doing really good. Something's just missing. I don't have closure from you. And for some reason, I felt that I needed closure from him because out of all my friends or family that I have burnt bridges with or disconnected with, it did not hurt as much as the separation between him and I. And for the longest time, I could not understand it. But I did. I texted him and he called me. And my heart did a flip. I couldn't even answer it. My mom lives with me and my husband. And I said, oh my God, he's calling me. She said, answer it. I said, no, no. And she goes, what is wrong with you? You've messaged him and you waited all this time and you can't even answer the phone. I was like, no. Well, I cooled down for a few minutes because he didn't leave a message. I texted him back and I said, I'm so sorry. I freaked out. I wasn't expecting you to call me. Whenever you get a chance, because for some reason I felt I knew he was at work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I felt that. So it's like, whenever you have a free moment, just go ahead and call me again. Well, about 40 minutes later, he called me. And as soon as I picked up the phone, he said, hey, you. And I said his full name, his first, middle, and last name, and said, I have not heard your voice in 15 years. Oh my God. And he was laughing. He said, it's so good to hear your voice. And I said, it's so good to hear your voice. He said, I'm a jackass. He just kept repeating that 5 times. He's like, I'm a jackass. No, you're not. Oh, but I am. And I said, well, I sent you a message on Facebook last month. He said, I know, my wife read it because he's married and now he has children. And he said, I don't go on my Facebook much. And she goes on my Facebook page and she had read the message. He then tells me that him and his wife had a big fight. He never mentioned me to her. I think it struck a nerve with her, and I can completely understand that. Being married to my husband, if he had a friend that was a girl that he didn't tell me about, and they were friends for a long time, I would be like, why would you feel like you have to hide that from me? It almost feels like a hiding energy. But he told me about that, and I went on to tell him he has a beautiful family. And then tones changed in the conversation. His voice got real low, and he said, so I heard you got married. I said, yeah, I got married last year in March. And he goes, when in March? Because his birthday is in March. And
right. He's a Pisces, you said.
Yes. I told him, I said, March 23rd. He said, shut up. That's my son's birthday. Well, I come to find out that him and his wife got married in December, and my birth month is in December. So there's synchronicities right there alone. And I have a daughter, and her name is the same name as his daughter. And I said, "You're copying my answers, friend." When we started talking about these things on the phone, it something clicked with him and I. The tone changed, everything changed. And I asked him if I could have his forgiveness. And he said, "Oh yeah, it's water under the bridge." He said, "I understand it now. You did what you had to do, and I understand." And I said, "So can I have my friend back?" And he said, "Absolutely. I would love nothing more because I miss you. And I miss you too." He said, "Well, I have to get back to work, so I will talk to you later." I was like, "Okay." My crazy butt went overboard. I overstepped boundaries. I just started sending him and his family a whole bunch of gifts. There was a CD of Korn. He loves Korn, the band Korn. It's his favorite. And I promised him a CD back in the day, and I never bought it for him. Well, I ended up buying it and sending it to his house. I still buy Scentsy from his wife. I look at it as I'd rather put money in his pocket because I don't know anybody else that sells it. But then I know I overstepped boundaries. But at the time, I didn't see that. I was just excited.
So do you see the interesting shift there? You became the chaser in that energy?
Yes, I chased him. After that, he ended up ghosting me.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
By this point, had you looked up the term twin flame? Did you have any idea?
No. So I got kicked off of Facebook for something. Like he finally added me on Facebook. We were Facebook friends. I ended up getting in Facebook jail. So I decided to try TikTok. Never been on TikTok before, but I decided to try it because I liked being on social media. And I was just scrolling through one day, and there was this live with a woman with tarot cards. Mind you, I have never been interested in tarot cards. Now, crystals, yes, I have always loved crystals, candles, herbs, spices, never really thought as myself of anything but a naturalist. So I go on this woman's live, and she caught my name and said, "I have a message for you." And so she started pulling her cards. She goes, "You have two men in your life, and one's going to fight for you. Somebody who didn't fight for you before is going to fight for you, but you will have a choice to make." And I typed in, I was like, "What? No, I'm married." She said, "This is somebody from your past." And then she pulled another card and said, "This is twin flame energy." And I'm like, "What is a twin flame?" And then she just cut me off and went to someone else. And
So what date was that?
It had to have been in July.
Okay.
It had
Wouldn't
to
it be
have been.
funny if it was July 9th?
Oh, no, it was. It was July 9th. That's right. That goes ethnicity. See, when I got clean, it was July 9th, 2012. We went to that concert July 9th, 1999. And then that's right. I found out about twin flames July 9th, 2020.
Amazing
And
synchronicities.
big. July 9th is a big date for us. I feel that. But no, I had no idea what a twin flame was. So my butt went on Google, and I Googled, what is a twin flame? And I started reading everything on there, and my heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. Talking about it right now and remembering it, my heart right now feels like it's about to explode out of my chest. That's a lot to take in. And then you think you're crazy. Like, no. But then I started getting my spiritual downloads, and
what were those like for you? What was that like for you?
Very scary because I didn't know what to do. Thought maybe I was going crazy again because when I was younger, I used to hear voices, and my mother had me hospitalized when I was younger. And then I started hearing them again and seeing visions and just knowing things I shouldn't know. But the more I started doing, like trying to figure out what was going on, I was hearing my twin's voice, and I started seeing what he was doing. And I started feeling.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you started seeing what he was doing? The audience is going to want to know about that.
Yes. So I would start getting pictures in my mind, like a little video or pictures of him different times during the day when he was at work. It's when he was still, when he wasn't working. I feel like at that time I didn't know what was going on, but now I can piece it together that we were actually connecting telepathically. I was thinking of him and he was thinking of me. Once I started realizing what this whole thing was, and I was like, well, I want to work on having him back in my life as a friend. I still didn't think of the connection really of reading what a twin flame was. I just wanted my friend back and us to just go back to normal the way it used to be and call it good, because I had never had a problem seeing him with another girl. I never got jealous in that type of sense. I just always wanted him to be happy.
That right there is the essence of unconditional twin flame love. If somebody at Justin's work, I went in to take him lunch the other day and they joked about, oh, you're bringing me lunch. And I said, no, this is for my twin flame. And when Justin came out to meet me, that person said, Michelle is bringing me lunch, or made some joke like that. And they go, aren't you jealous? And Justin just looks at them. And it's so funny because it's foreign to us. We know, he is me and I am him. And anything that made me happy, he'd want me to have. So he goes, well, we don't get jealous. I don't get jealous. And you can just see people don't know how to react to that because he really means it. He could do whatever he wants with his body and his body parts with whoever he wants. He's still mine and I'm still his.
Absolutely. And that's exactly how I have always felt, even though I never understood it. But that's the way it's always been with me. Now I know he had jealousy. He didn't like it when I had guys around me. I don't know.
To take us back to that moment now when you looked up twin flame. And okay, you had been sending gifts to his family. You were excited to be back in contact. He ghosted you and went and you looked up twin flame. And then what?
Oh, I've seen the whole runner chaser dynamic where it says the runner will ghost and be scared of their true feelings. Something triggered. And I'm like, how could I trigger him? Then I go back to the conversation that we had. And the trigger was me getting married. Him being married, he's a very committed, faithful man to his wife and his children. They are very Christian. They have a beautiful home. He was raised right. He's not toxic. There might be some things that he does that might not be all that great, but he's not a toxic man at all. He has always been a man of God. Hearing my voice and actually talking to me. And we were talking about, man, I just wish we could go back in time and, live our high school years again. I was like, I'm tired of adulting. It's the most dumbest thing I ever decided to do. Let's go back. And he took a deep breath and was like, oh, I wish we could. I would so be there with you. There would be a lot of things that I would do differently. That sticks in my mind because that to me was him telling me right then and there that he wouldn't have been scared to express his emotions to me. As friends, we could tell each other, oh, I love you, bye. It's like, I love you, bye. But we never had that actual opening vulnerability, being open, saying, I love you. You're my person. You live rent free in my head 24/7. We've never have done that. So when I was reading about the runner and chaser dynamic, I was like, he's the runner. Oh my gosh. And I'm chasing him. I don't chase nobody. What? But then I continue to keep doing it. Every month or so, I'd be like, hey, how are you? Nothing. Happy Thanksgiving. Nothing. Merry Christmas with the Christmas gift for him and his whole family. I bought a gift for him and his wife to share because he loves coffee. I bought them assorted coffee Christmas gift. And then I bought his children little gift boxes with chocolates and candies and hot cocoa. His wife thanked me. She messaged me on Facebook and said, oh, thank you so much. And it came right on our anniversary. And I was like, well, good. I'm glad you guys got it. Merry Christmas. Nothing but his birthday. Every year during our separation on Facebook, I would leave it open for the public to see, just in case he would ever look at my social media and see, happy birthday. I love and miss you. I hope you're spending it with ones you love. I hope you're doing what makes you happy. This year, I didn't post it. I waited till about 9:30 at night on his birthday to wish him a happy birthday. No expectation of him messaging me back, but he did. He said, thank you. Since March, that is the last time that I've had conversation with him. Mm-hmm. If you call that a conversation, it's breadcrumb, but I'll take it because now I know the twin flame dynamic and I have really obsessed about it for the longest time till I actually surrendered in July, like fully surrendered, and just about 2 months ago, fully detached.
So why don't you, I'd love for you to share with the audience your process in those things. Talk to us a little bit about the obsession.
Absolutely. So the obsession was he was the first thought when I woke up and the last thought when I went to bed. And it didn't stop all day long. Why isn't he talking to me? Did I do something wrong? Did I overstep boundaries when I sent him and his family gifts? Was there something more I could have done? Was there something less I should have done? Oh God, I miss him. If I could just talk to him, if he would just talk to me. I miss him so much. I went up to my hometown earlier this year and I even messaged him and told him that I was going to be in town and if he would love to visit and catch up, just let me know, and ghosted, obviously. And it was after his birthday. And I was just like, I can't believe how obsessed I was about it. Like, well, if we're twin flames, then he's meant to talk to me and he's not doing it properly. Or I guess we're not twin flames because a twin flame wouldn't do this to their other soul, and just got weird into the questions. I was on Quora a lot. I was looking up anything and everything about twin flames, the synchronicity, twin flame synchronicity. I used the synchronicities and looked them up as twin flame instead of just seeing what the synchronicity meant for myself. Mm-hmm. That's the obsession when I'm not focusing on me. I'm not focusing on my family. I'm not focusing on my husband, nobody, just him. That's when I realized, like, we got a problem here. The obsession caused me and my husband to fight a lot. And I recognize that. I would find any little thing if he messed up and be like, oh, that's it. I want a divorce. I've read that, twin flames end up being together and maybe that's just something, a speed bump in the road that's hindering me from my connection.
Started thinking that your soulmate connection with your husband was actually a hindrance.
Yes, the obsession led to that. And come July, I really had to wake myself up from that. I said that we need to do something about this. Of course, I read and looked up a lot on twin flames. I mean, I do tarot. I help twin flame, the ones that are in connections. And I'm always telling them, the messages from spirit about surrender. But did I take in my own information? No, I didn't. Had to take those messages in for myself and surrender. Then I was like, well, how do I surrender? How do I get past this need and want, this needy latch on feeling to subside because I'm tired of feeling this way. It was getting really bad where I was making myself physically sick, to be honest. So I meditated. I asked upon my spirit guides to help me and how to help me. They said, you just got to know that you guys are always together. There's never separation. And you just have to trust in God's plan for you, in the universe and us. You have to have faith and trust in us that we want you guys to be in union, not only in the 5D, but in the 3D. But we can't make that happen if you keep obsessing and not focus on yourself. You're not loving yourself. You're neglecting yourself. You're neglecting your family. And they need you too. You need you. And I said, okay, he's living his life and he's, I guess, happy as to what I want for him. So I need to be happy and do the same for myself. So then I started journaling, asking myself, what makes Joanna happy?
What'd you find out?
So what makes Joanna happy is the whole spiritual experience, first and foremost, being able to be closer to God. My family makes me happy. I enjoy helping others. I enjoy singing and dancing in the shower. I enjoy sitting outside and having the sun beat on my face and just living in that moment. It feels so good just to breathe in the sun. That makes me happy.
Aren't we lucky that we got to come here and do this journey for all of its pain and all of its frustration and all of its having to figure out the lessons? It's like once you see it and once you know, it's just such a sense of, okay, I can relax. This is going to be okay. I came here for a reason. I figured out my reason and now I'm doing it. And I can just be in this moment and trust.
Yes. Yes. And then I started journaling about what I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for having this experience and being here in this lifetime to at least have met him and got to experience it, the true essence between him and I. Oh, I got goosebumps talking about it right now because I'm so grateful for being connected and being so close to God and the universe and my spirit team and my ancestors and getting to know more about them and me. I am so grateful for my soul family. Before I met my soul team, my live soul family here, I was so lost. And now, if there's anything, I can pick up the phone or, I can message any one of you guys. You guys are just always there. And it's so wonderful. Me and my husband, I'm grateful for me and my husband working on our marriage and the things that I get to learn more about life and myself. I have come to love me. I am a beautiful, loving, caring woman, fierce, and I'm funny. And
you have amazing gifts, which, by the way, I'll ask you about in a minute. Take us from surrender and journaling and recognizing the gratitude and all of that into what you called detachment. You said it was a couple months later that you detached. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so detached doesn't mean that, oh, I'm detaching my emotions and feelings away from this situation or my twin. When I say detach, I'm meaning I'm letting him live his life because he has things that he needs to learn and I can't be around for him to do so. I have lessons that I have to learn and that I have to do and that he can't be around. I can't help him at this moment and he can't help me. So I have detached myself from that whole wanting to call and talk to him all the time or wanting to send him things in his family all the time or constant having him running through my mind all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still there. He's always with me. I am him and he is me. We are one. But at the same time, I have to respect his individualism and know that he is in a separate body and he is living his own separate life and he is on his own journey as I am on mine. So I detach from the obsessiveness.
The expectations you detached from.
Exactly. I have let go of expectations and I have really been challenged for the last 3 months since I have done that because they're like, oh, you say you detach from that. We're going to test it. And I have been through a lot in these past 3 months with my family and with my health. And I am sitting here today still with a smile on my face because I know everything happens for a reason and everything is going to work out the way it's meant to be.
That's the truth. You have been through a lot, a major surgery and upheaval with some of your kids, and you're expecting your first grandchild, and it's probably good that you were able to find the detachment from the distorted expectations. So would you call this state that you're in now like a healthy separation, or is it even separation? I want to hear about how you feel where your telepathic connection is with him versus your 3D. Obviously, 3D is separation, and you're respecting that need for him to walk his path and you to walk your path right now. But what about, the rest of it?
Okay. So, and I love that too, because yes, I have detached in the 3D, but in the 5D, before all that stuff, we did meet in the 5D quite a bit. And it was always the same thing. I miss you. Me and him both exchanging in our dreams. I miss you. I miss you too. We're either always in a car listening to music because that was mine and his thing. We were always in the car driving around, listening to music, just cruising, or in a house on a couch. One that really sticks out. Right when I decided to surrender to the connection, I had a dream about a young girl. She might have been 7, with dark long hair. Didn't really get to see her face in my dream, but she was shuffling a tarot deck and she pulled out a card that had a yin and yang sign on it. She flipped it around and made me look right at it and said, he's coming back. And I woke up and I was like, okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. So in the dreams, I feel like I jump timelines of when we're actually going to be together. Certain things happen where I'm in a place that I've never seen in my 3D life, but in the 5D, it's home, it's cozy, it's recognizable. Me and him are together. We're talking, we're laughing, we're enjoying each other. And sometimes his wife comes into the dreams. Either she's okay with it and she's expecting, like, oh, I'm sorry, I walked in your house without knocking. She goes, no, it's okay.
What about your husband, soulmate? Does he ever join you?
There has only been one dream. And in this dream, it just looked 70s. The wallpaper was like mustard yellow. The lights were dim. It was real smoky in the house. There was old beer tab cans, if you can imagine, where they'd have to pull the tops off on the table. But I was with my twin in the dream. We were a couple, and my husband was actually a friend.
Yeah, so you see these alternate timelines because we all exist in different places. Our soul contracts, not with our twin flame, because we don't have a contract with them, but with all of our soulmates, they recur. So that's interesting. You have seen that.
But since I have surrendered, the actual detached from the whole obsessing, I actually felt his energy for the past week pretty heavy. But other than that, I haven't had much dreams of him. I've been working more in the astro, helping others. And I actually had a dream of him the other day, which in 2 months I hadn't dreamt of him. We were having a very serious conversation. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of dissipated onto a stage with his wife. And his wife was crying, trying to play a guitar. And he was just standing behind her stoic. And here I am in this theater, sitting in a chair watching this, and a whole bunch of people just sitting there watching her cry. It was very interesting.
That play, the ego masks.
Yep.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that you've been out helping other people on the astral plane in your dreams lately. I hear that last night you were counseling Aaron in a dream, and you guys confirmed that today, which I'd love you to share a little bit about that story.
It is really funny because she messaged me today and said, I had a dream about you. I was like, oh, how'd that dream go? So she gets on to telling me that I was talking to her and consoling in her because she didn't feel her twin snuggle her at night. And usually at night, her twin tells her, is it time for bed? And energetically, they snuggle each other to help each other sleep. But unfortunately, her twin wasn't able to meet up with her last night to do so. So she was a little concerned when she went to bed. And she said in her dream, I was telling her, oh, honey, it's okay. He's just surrendered. And I said, that's really funny because last night I was having dreams about helping people, but all I remember is sitting at my desk shuffling cards. I can't remember in my dream the faces or who I was helping out. But I do remember when I was reading cards, I was talking about surrendering. And surrendering kept replaying over in my head over and over last night. And I woke up very tired this morning, drained. But then she came to me and I was like, that is so neat that I was able to come to you and help you. When your twin starts recognizing the connection, they start waking up. Oh, and I got goosebumps talking about it because I love it so much. You will not feel their energy so much as an obsessive energy. You won't dream about them as much because you're merging. You don't need to dream about them because they are you and you are them. Some people get a little bit scared. I even did too. I'm like, what's going on? I detached, but now I feel no energy. I could tell you when he was brushing his teeth, I could taste the toothpaste in my mouth. And now I can't taste that. But I'm okay with that because those caused those obsessive feelings every time they would come up and occur to me. So when I finally detached and surrendered to that, a little less of the dreaming, because the dreams kind of make you obsess and you think about them all day after you've dreamt about them. They ease up. So when your divine counterpart starts surrendering to the connection, you're merging. So you won't have the dreams or feel them so much as you did before because you're merging into one. That usually signifies union right around the corner in the 5D and then into the present.
That's a great way of describing it for people to relate to. Being a twin flame is just part and parcel of a larger spiritual awakening journey. It's a type of spiritual awakening journey or a way that some of us find our way to our spiritual truth. And it often comes with these gifts, like your gift for reading the tarot, your gift for being in the astral plane and working with others and helping heal them. How did those gifts come to your attention and how did you develop them? Because it hasn't been very long that you've been working with your gifts, is it?
No, just a little over a year. It's really funny because I started obsessing with tarot. After she had given me that reading on TikTok, I was on YouTube all the time watching his month tarot readings and my month tarot readings. I was paying a lot of money in tarot readings and I was like, they're just reading cards, so can I. So it actually started with the obsession of getting tarot to read for myself. Then you find out can't read yourself. So I was like, I don't think I'm doing this right. So I'm going to practice on other people. Once I started practicing on other people and reading them for free, I was spot on every time. But anytime I started reading myself, I was very, very confused and the messages didn't make sense. So I was like, okay, I can read other people really good. I can feel their energy, feel their spirit guides. I get pictures of them. I get certain colors or words in my head or just certain things that pop in my head and I would just go with it. And every time I did, I was spot on. I started learning more about tarot to respect it because when I first started, and I'm honestly going to tell you, I did not respect it. I did it in vain.
You didn't respect the medium of the cards and the fact that those cards have a life force and an energy of their own and that they're a tool.
Yeah. I was just doing it for my own gain. When I started actually meditating, like actually learning how to meditate and sit with myself in stillness, I would just get downloads left and right talking about you're here to help other people, not yourself. We will send you people to help you. You need to help others. And I was like, okay, geez, fine, I get it. Oh.
Isn't it funny how that works? You get somebody who helps you and lifts you up a little bit and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm part of this broader chain and this network of light now. And so then you meditated and looked into your gifts. And what did you do? They started growing.
Yes. So meditation is amazing. Since my surgery, I probably should be meditating more, but I've just been kind of focusing on other things around me, which I do meditate, but not as much as I should.
You
I
have an
believe
awful lot going on, so you need to give yourself some grace.
Yes, I do. I do have compassion for myself, but before all this was happening, I was meditating twice a day. It was really good for me. In the morning, I would ground my energy. I learned how to ground to feel safe and secure and not so anxious and to live in the daily moment. And then at night, since I worked on my root chakra during grounding, I would work up my chakra systems. So one night I would work on my throat chakra and then I'd work on my sacral. It's very important and I love and enjoy healing and working on my chakras. And I really enjoy it because that's something that I can share with him and help him as well, not just myself.
Everything really you do on your energy system and for yourself and your soul and the betterment of your copy of the soul, all of that is directly transferred up into the cloud to the connection that you two share. So his soul, it's there for his benefit too.
I just love it so much. And I really appreciate you spending this time with me and allowing me to actually tell my story, actually full detail, tell my story. It's cleansing.
I love having this connection with you. I love that you're my soul sister, one of my soul sisters. There's a net of us all around the world who've connected and Justin's there. And I'm so glad that we're having some men show up on the calls and start to participate because this divine masculine shift that's happening, we've kind of led the way and now it's time for them to join up with us. And I think about your twin and everybody else's masculine counterparts starting to join the march too. And I love that we can share these stories for more people to connect through and get to know their own journey better and know again that they're not alone, because that was a real hard part for me, going through it. It wasn't as broadly talked about even 5 and 7 years ago, right? It's been sort of the slow swell of people being able to talk and connect in this way. So thank you for sharing your story and for trusting us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to learn more about Justin's and my twin flame journey, please consider picking up our novella series. It's available on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and Apple audiobooks today. It's called Souls on Fire, Memoirs of a Twin Flame True Love Journey. Look for parts 1 and 2. If you'd like to share your story of twin flame connection, please reach out to us at podcast@twinflamewarriors.com. Maybe we'll share your story in an upcoming episode. Thanks, and we'll talk to you next time.